Hello, Sarah. I'm coming to you today from practice room. Another change of scenery. So, you asked for 10 book recommendations. I'm bringing to you today 10 book recommendations, and I'm trying to go fast. So I said 5 minutes giving a book talk is like an hour of me talking about all my books. So, we're just going to move right to number 1. Jellicoe Road by Melina Marchetta. Melina, I don't know how you say her name. I don't know if I've had you read this before. I might have. I don't remember if you've read this one, because I can't keep track of every book everyone I know has ever read. Australian author. This is a young adult book about a girl who was left by her mother on Jellicoe Road when she was younger. She ends up staying with the woman at a boarding school. The woman is like headmistress of this boarding school, and she's writing a story about 5 teenagers who lived on that road like 20 years ago. Like, it's not until here when you know what's going on. And then it's just absolutely incredible. Your mind's just like, what just happened? Some things I wrote down off my Goodreads because I do not own a lot of books, so I couldn't hold them all up. I wish I could hold them all up, but I haven't gotten around to finding a library to check out all of these books yet. So next is Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. It's a new book of his that came out this summer, and I read it, and it was super good. It was surprising how short it is. I was expecting something like gigantor, and it's like less than 200 pages. And it's about a man who goes back to his childhood home and starts to remember some of the things that happened there. It's really, really surreal and magical, and just the end of it is so good. So I think you should read it. Next book is I Am the Messenger by Marcus Zusak, author of The Book Thief, which I absolutely adore. So I decided to read I Am the Messenger, finally got around to it. It is about a guy he lives in Australia, because, Australian-themed books. Got this. He starts receiving these playing cards with instructions written on them, so he follows the instructions. The end was so clever, that's completely worth it. Next book, Just One Day by Gail Forman, author of If I Stay, is the entire theme of this is books that take place abroad or not in this world, because you said, well, I'm here this year. I don't think you have time to read 10 books, because I don't have time to read 10 books. It's about a girl who is, she spends the summer in Europe touring some countries and stuff, and then, like, her last day there, she's in England, and she meets a guy, way better than that, actually, and there's going to be a second book, because it doesn't tell the whole story. Next is Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, and it's a fantasy book that takes place in Prague and also in Marrakesh and another world, and it's about a girl who knows a chimera, and it's about like teeth and chimera and demons and angels and love, and I love those books. I don't know if the third one's out yet, but it is. I can't even explain how good it was. It's just magical, absolutely magical. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children by Ransom Riggs. It was not what I expected. It has a creepy cover, and it has these photographs, like these really weird, bizarre old photographs interspersed in it as part of the story. The story is that the author would receive the photographs, and then he would like write part of the story incorporating it, so that's really cool. And it's actually about time travel and the Second World War, I think, and an orphanage, and it was not what I expected, but I love it. Since you said you were reading Maureen Johnson, you should read Name of the Star, because it's one of her newer works, so it's very well developed, and her writing style is just, she's gotten there. Her first couple books are good, but they're just not as good as her more recent ones. And it's a murder mystery that takes place in London, and it is like someone or a ghost recreating Jack the Ripper's murders in London. And that's the first of a series. The second one came out. It was also really good, so I recommend that. Reckless by Cornelia Funke. It is about 2 brothers, and one of them goes through their dad's mirror into this other world. This like fantasy land, like a Cornelia Funke fantasy land, that kind of thing. And he has this other life there, and then the brother follows him in, and it's about all the stuff that happens. But they're older. You'd think it'd be about like an 8 and 12-year-old, but they're in their like 20s and teens, and it's so magical. The second one is really good too. I read those. And the 10th book that I recommend you read is Wicked, unless you already read it. And the reason I'm recommending this to you is that you made me read it. and I'm not done with it yet because when I got this far, I asked you, how's that book we're reading together, Sarah? You didn't know what I was talking about because you forgot, so this is me rubbing it in your face that you made me read this book that I don't like. You better read it. And your challenge is to tell me about Turkish bookstores, because I was wondering why you were asking me to recommend you 10 books. Because I'm like, do they sell books in English there? How are you planning on getting these? Like, how do you get them on a Kindle or something? I don't remember if you have a Kindle or not. So do they sell English books? Do they sell Turkish books? Are the Turkish books the same as English books? Like, could you find me, are they like translated? So could you go read like John Green in Turkish? Because that would be pretty sweet. Goodbye!